Welcome back to the channel. Away launched both of these bags as personal item companions to their rolling luggage. This one is a structured duffel called the Everywhere bag, and this one is a tote called the Everywhere Tote. For this comparison video, I packed both bags with the exact same items and tested them on the same trip. One flew there and one flew home. By the end of the trip, I had a much clearer idea of how each of these bags fits into my travel system. Before we get started, I want to mention that Away gifted this Coast Blue tote to me. It wasn't provided in exchange for a review or any coverage. Instead, what happened is I helped another traveler compare Away's two overnight bags, the Featherlight Overnight and the original Overnight, by sharing a comparison video I'd already made. But all opinions are my own. I do thank Away for this awesome gift though, because it is beautiful and Coast Blue is definitely my favorite Away color. My original video plan was actually to use my black Everywhere tote. I purchased this on Poshmark used. In fact, this is the bag that inspired the entire project because I've had the Everywhere bag for quite a while and the Everywhere tote, the names are similar, and so I really wanted to see how these both worked as personal items. But since Away gifted me this beautiful Coast Blue tote, I want to use this instead. The color actually makes it much easier to film and to show you things like stitching, seams, the details. When you have a black bag with black accents, it's just hard to see everything, especially under the seat. Now let's look at each bag, including the dimensions, weight, and how much they can actually hold. The Everywhere bag is 16.3 inches long, and the Everywhere tote is 18.2 inches long, so about 2 inches longer for the tote. The Everywhere bag is 10.2 inches high, and the Everywhere tote is 11.2 inches high. So this is 1 inch taller than the Everywhere bag. For the depth of the bag, we have 7.3 for the Everywhere bag and 7.6 for the Everywhere tote. So just a bit of a difference there. For shoulder drop on the Everywhere bag, it's 8 inches. And for the Everywhere tote, it's 11 inches. It's quite long, you can see. The Everywhere bag comes with a separate longer shoulder strap that you can adjust. So if you want to, you can use this for over your shoulder. I'd say the 8 inches is a bit too short really to comfortably carry this, especially if you have this top part packed pretty well. But this extra shoulder strap means that you can adjust it to another shoulder length or even crossbody. Now let's look at the features together. They both have a zippered pocket in the front. You can tell that this pocket for the tote is taller. That means it goes down, all the way to the bottom here, and it also goes past the handle straps, and it includes a key leash. The Everywhere bag has the zippered pocket, but it just goes barely past the handle, so it's not as big, and it's obviously shorter since the bag is shorter. I would put like my phone only in here, and in the tote I'd add my phone, my keys, and probably a small wallet would fit. The side profile is nice and clean. The Away Everywhere bag is a nice open duffel, so the zipper goes all the way down here to the bottom, whereas the tote is a tote, so it's just open at the top. Both of the bags have a nice trolley sleeve for attaching to your rolling luggage handle. The Everywhere tote's trolley sleeve is larger and wider. It fits easier on my Quince suitcase, which you can see in the background since we're using that for the test that we're going to talk about in a minute. This one is quite a bit tighter, but it does fit. And then there's nothing else to show on the tote for the back. The Everywhere bag has a separate laptop compartment, and it's color coordinated to the bag. And so this one has a 16-inch laptop compartment and room for a tablet. The bottom of each of these bags has 2 leather strips, which kind of keep it, protect it a little bit. The Everywhere bag sells for $198 on the Away website, and the Everywhere tote is $158, so about $40 difference between the two. All right, now let's look at the difference in capacity, and I use towels to show this. This is also how I store my bags so they keep their shape. All right, so inside the Everywhere bag, I have 2 full-size bath towels. And the capacity of the Everywhere bag is 20 liters. Inside the Everywhere Tote, I have the same size of bath towels. So I have 2 full-size bath towels. Looks like I'm turned to the back here. And then I also have a smaller hand towel, which would fit along this side. So that is a little extra capacity since it is longer. All right, so let's look at the pockets individually, what makes them different. On the Away Everywhere bag, you have a mesh water bottle holder, or you could use it for anything really. A slip pocket with leather trim. On the other side, we have a zippered pocket and the Away logo here and 2 slip pockets. And then this is where your key leash is. And you have this nice gusset to help you really open it up with a light gray interior. The tote also has a gray interior. It's got the big front pocket like I showed you before. And inside, let me use my book light since just with the lighting of the room, it's a little hard to see on a tall tote. It can hold a 16-inch laptop just like the Everywhere bag, and then it snaps closed. And then we have a nice, just a wide base that you can use if you like to use pouches. I usually pack with pouches. And then this wall has the same zippered compartment and 2 pockets as the Everywhere bag. And then if I fold them flat, like how they arrive for shipping, you can see a little bit of the difference in the shape too. The duffel is more boxy, it's just that the corners are kind of going in there how I folded it. The Everywhere bag empty holds 2.25 pounds and it's 2.75 pounds with the additional shoulder strap. The Away tote empty is 1.57 pounds. So if you normally need to use the extra shoulder strap to carry this one, like if I carried this on its own without my roller, I would have to use the extra shoulder strap. So that means that this one would be over a pound heavier than the tote. Now let me explain the test for you. This was a 2-night trip on a regional jet. It's a CRJ 700. And roller bags are typically valet checked. So they take them, you get a tag as you board, and then you leave them at the end of the jet bridge, and then they're taken and they're put in the cargo area and then returned to you on the jet bridge when you get off the plane. That gave me an opportunity to bring along this bag so that I could try both bags on the same trip. So I folded it up and I put it inside a little dust cover that came with my suitcase. That nestled perfectly here on the left side, and then I was able to use the right side for my regular packing, my clothes, my hair tool, all of those things I needed. And then for the return flight, I took the Everywhere bag out, filled it with the personal items that were in the Everywhere tote, and then put the tote inside. So just to go over really quick what I have that I'm packing, I have an in-flight essentials pouch, which I keep like wet wipes, tissues, all those things. MacBook Air 13. I have my water bottle, an extra phone, an SD card, sunglasses, tech pouch, toiletries, small notebook, wallet, keys, and then I have a Kindle and a paperback book. Okay, so since the Everywhere bag is kind of floppy, I'm going to start by giving it some structure. First, I'll place my 13-inch MacBook Air in the separate laptop compartment and zip it up. In the main compartment, I'll start by filling the base. And I do have quite a good base to work with here. Because this opens so wide, I just have to make sure I don't fill it too much this way. It needs to go up tall, but there is still more room here in the corners. I just don't have a super full bag for this. All right, so I'm going to put my water bottle here in the water bottle pocket. And this is a 12-ounce water bottle. You could do a little bit higher, but it is a shorter space. And then my tech pouch. On the other side, I'll put my notebook. I have a pen already in there. Just like to have a notebook. And then I can do my glasses case and my wallet. Okay, so I'm still left with more room. I'll do my book and Kindle my SSD card for filming, my in-flight essentials pouch, and then the key leash. Which side was that on? Over here. Okay. Keys on the key leash. And then I'll close it up. You can also like fill it, you can close it just up past the gussets too. And then you can fit more up here. I still have quite a bit more space. And then in the front, I'll stick my phone, and I'll just kind of put it in there. I don't really need to zip it. Okay, now let's do the same items in the Everywhere Tote. So I'll start with the MacBook Air 13-inch first and snap it closed. There is more room. I could put my paperback book there too if I wanted to. But one thing I noticed is I did not fill the corners well when I packed this the first time before the trip. So when you're packing, really use those corners because there's quite a bit of space there. I was mainly just packing it vertically, but there's more room. Now, I don't really have a full tote's worth, but I could take something like this small tech bag and get down in here instead of having these, you know, corners kind of sticking or collapsing. Okay, so I put my tech pouch in, my toiletry bag. I'll do my Kindle and my paperback book, my SD card, a little notebook, and then my sunglasses. This is basically the same pocket as the Everywhere bag, these two slip pockets with a zippered pocket, so I can do that. And then my in-flight essentials pouch will go there. Zip it up. And then at the front, I'll do my phone and the keys. This is so nice and wide that my keys don't get in the way of my phone. Even if my phone is laying flat, the keys are all the way over here. All right, and that is the Everywhere Tote. Now for the fun part, the in-flight test. The tote was really easy to access while I was at the gate, and the phone pocket was nice and big. On the airplane, it stood up tall, which I was really surprised. I thought it would go on its back, but it was perfect. And it was really easy to access items in flight. I was holding my phone with one hand, so I was able to unzip the zipper, unsnap the button, grab my book, and then zip it again, all with one hand. For the roller fit, it has a slightly bigger trolley sleeve opening than the Everywhere bag. It slides on really easily, and it also fit as a personal item. For flight 2, I used the Everywhere bag. This fit perfectly in the bag sizer for American Airlines. It was easy to access items while I was at the gate. And then for the trolley sleeve, it's a bit tighter to go on, but once it's on, it's nice and snug. And then this was in economy. It fits standing up under the seat perfectly fine. And my sister was using the black tote, and that fit perfectly too. So final thoughts on these two bags. I'm glad I have both of them in my travel system. One thing I realized while making this comparison is that my default travel setup doesn't always include a roller bag. Probably only about half the time I use a roller, and the other half I'll use a combination of like a backpack and a crossbody, or I'll use an overnight bag like the Featherlight Overnight, which is slightly larger than both of these, and then pair it with a crossbody. That factor alone influences more which bag preference I have. For travelers who almost always bring a roller, I think the Everywhere bag makes a really strong case for itself. It has a nice tight trolley sleeve, which keeps it firmly attached to the roller, and the compact size really makes it look like a single unit. While the short handles for me are a bit of a con for using it independently, for people who don't need the longer handles of the tote and you pair with the roller, the short handles are actually a plus because they don't get in the way And this is just a nice compact shape, and I think it works really well. And if you do happen to need more length, you can add that shoulder strap that's adjustable. For me though, the Everywhere Tote has more flexibility. It's true that it lacks the separate laptop compartment, but the longer shoulder straps and lighter weight mean that I can carry it comfortably on its own. I think of this one more as a lifestyle bag that doubles as a companion for my roller. In fact, I already plan to use the tote as my primary travel bag on an upcoming trip. So I'll make the tote my suitcase and I'll put packing cubes in it, and then I'll carry a separate crossbody as my personal item. If you have any questions about either of these bags or want to share your own favorite travel setup, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.